Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. So yesterday's episode was all about the Mental Health Day, Awareness Day, as that is something that I am really passionate about talking about and supporting one another. So if you're ever down, feel free to message me or send me a message through Instagram or Facebook, my Facebook page, and I will hopefully try and get back to you. So today's episode, what is it all about? Well, we're going to be talking about what we got up to this weekend down on the plot, as we certainly got lots and lots done. So yes, it was a beautiful day on Sunday, not so good on Saturday. Saturday morning was misty, drizzly, and it rained quite a bit as well while I was on the plot. So what I always say is that if it's raining, you still go to the plot and you do work inside, like in the shed, in the greenhouse, in the polytunnel. So I got myself in the shed, and I shared a funny video on my Instagram page of me going in the shed for the first time in 6 months, and wow, it is like a jungle inside there. I have issues with bindweed on my plot, and obviously the lots of light in the greenhouse, the warmth, and it not being disturbed really. It had literally took over the whole of the shed, and it's a lot of work to do. I'm going to have to fit many hours down there, so hopefully we'll get quite a few rainy days where I can spend time in the shed. So I've started pulling all that out and trying to clear it out, but I'm going to have to take up all my flooring, I think, because all the roots are going underneath there. So I need to try and dig it out as much as possible and try and get rid of most of that bindweed. I know I'll never get rid of it. That's the thing with bindweed, it is a bind, and you're going to be struggling with it for years and years to come. So I need to get cracking and try and get as much as that out, because apparently it does grow up to 6 inches a day. I don't know how true that is, but that's something that I've heard, and I can imagine it is true, because some of the trails on the bindweed were really long, and I mean really long. I was pulling them and pulling them and pulling them and pulling them. But yeah, definitely lots of bindweed on there. So I did some of that, and I started clearing some of my beds what I've used this year, getting those prepared and dug over ready for next year. Obviously they'll need digging over again, but the weeds stopped growing as much during the winter time because there's no sunlight and it's too cold for them, so they won't grow much over the winter. So the more you can get done now, the better really, because the roots won't be as big come next time when you're digging it over, and it's easier to keep on top of. You can just keep raking it and hoeing it and keeping it down really, and letting the frost get into the soil, because if you've broken it up and the frost gets into it, it's good for the soil as well. So make sure you keep digging it over around autumn winter time. So we've got the beds cleared. I've also been doing lots of weeding as per usual, always weeding to be done. I've also today picked my pumpkin, and I've shared a picture of that as well on Instagram. I've not done brilliant with the pumpkins this year. I've not done brilliant with all the vegetables at all this year, but we have got one pumpkin and I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. So hopefully I'll be having that soon to eat and to share. So I'm looking forward to that really. I don't know what to make out of the pumpkin yet, whether it'll be soup, whether it'll be pumpkin buns, but yeah, we'll have to see what we do with that. So we've done that. So my next step is to move on to the main section of my plot. My mum and dad have bought me a birthday present, which is a new fork and a new spade. So I need to get the use out of them and get using them to clear the plot. It's always good to have new gardening tools, I'm sure you'll agree. If you've got an allotment or garden, you'll never get short of having tools for birthdays and Christmas. No, I certainly don't. And it's always nice to have decent equipment as well. So I've got to start getting that all dug over. But like I say, now is the perfect time to start clearing and getting it all ready for winter. And hopefully over the next few weeks I'll be sharing with you tips and advice on what to do over the winter periods and getting them plots ready, and how you can improve them to make them better and grow better on the plots, because everybody likes sharing tips with one another. That's obviously why you listen to this, because you like to hear the tips and advice that I share with one another, and that we can enjoy and hopefully get lots of delicious fruit and vegetables from. So I'm looking forward to the next year. Next year is going to be a good year on my plot, and we're going to have some fantastic produce and hopefully share lots and lots of stuff from the site. And I want to provide as much content for you all as possible. So I'm doing more of these podcasts, but I need to start filming more videos for me to share with you. So hopefully we'll be starting to do that soon. So yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic week, as it's now Monday. So I hope you have a fantastic week. And as always, I hope that you keep smiling through these dark times and winter times. And remember, keep gardening with Ben. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.